Most men stop at knowing. They learn the surface, just the first few facts, and the most important rules. And they never dig any deeper. Howdy, my name is Nolan T. Painter, an aspiring young man, and in today's video, I'll be talking about the 3 tiers of awareness. It's a social system I've set up and frankly discovered that allows me to categorize the way we have an outlook on events and people. So, why is this important? Well, in reality, few men try to actually understand the system. And, moreover, they don't just try to avoid it, but they're worried about taking the time to understand this system. Because in modern day times, we're all taught to be quick with our thought, quick with our actions. But if you pause in a moment to reconcile with events and people, you'll learn to understand, or even better, discover this system that I've set up. And because of this, even fewer reach the so-called 3rd tier, which is the one you should aspire to reach. This is the tier that you should be so proud to eventually ascertain. And if you don't quite know what I'm talking about, because I wouldn't be surprised, after all, this was something I discovered and something I set up myself, then allow me to give you a quick example. In the 3 tiers of awareness, there's 1, knowing, 2, understanding, and 3, appreciating. So here's a quick example. Let's say you went to the gym and you basically dropped a dumbbell on your foot and completely hurt your foot, right? Hurt your toe. Your toe is all messed up. It's not broken, but it hurts pretty bad and you feel crummy. The first tier is knowing. So, okay, you know you did that. You know it hurts. You know you look like an idiot. The second tier is understanding. Okay, well, you understand you did that because you made a mistake and you shouldn't have done the thing you were doing, or you shouldn't have done the lift that specific way, or there's something that could have been avoided, right? So now you know, okay, next time you understand that will cause that. Third tier is appreciating. You now see this and you go, okay, well, you know what, I could have used the break anyway, so that was giving myself a break. Or this is a reason why I should work harder. Or this is a reason why I should study more in this regard to avoid that issue. Or, oh, a girl was watching that time and she thought it was kind of cute how I messed up there. And now I'm appreciating it because the consequence is that, she has a bit of interest in me. So the point is in this little example that there's knowing, which is just having the basic idea, which most men stop at. There's understanding, which understands the consequences of it and what's happening. And then there's appreciating, which is having a full empathy for the situation. And appreciating is the most important aspect, especially in relationships. I can't stress this enough, especially in like a relationship setting between a man and a woman. Having the appreciation is so important because it gets through so many little hurdles. I'm going to have a central example throughout this entire video that I will talk about, knowing, understanding, and appreciating in a relationship, but I'll hit you with one more quick one. Have you ever been afraid to ask your partner for something? And if you've never had a partner before, just put yourself in the shoes of a guy who wants to ask a girl for sex, right? This is the most extreme example, right? Let's say you're in a very awkward situation. You're in a situation where you obviously shouldn't be asking for that. No matter, a man should never ask for that. Point is, in the situation, you're this stupid little boy and you want to ask for it. Well, you are going to feel weird, right? You're going to feel embarrassed to ask for it, most likely, because you know it's wrong and yet you want it anyways. So, in this situation, step 1 is knowing. Tier 1 is knowing. The woman knows you're asking her for it, right? You're just looking at it and she'll ask you for it, and she'll make her own interpretation and be upset at you, most likely, because why would you do such a thing? Second tier is understanding. Because you said such a thing, she understood why you wanted it, and she, because of that understanding, adjusts her interpretation of you saying those things because she understands why you want it, right? Maybe you want it because you want to give her a good time, or maybe you want it because you're a selfish prick. Whatever it is, she understands. Third tier is appreciating. Now, this is the most important one. This is where you go from 50% to 100%. Because if tier 1 was 25, I'll say this. If tier 1 was 10%, tier 2 is 50%, tier 3 is 100%. So you've just asked this girl for this very lustful activity, and she's, first she knew, first she understand, or second she understood, and now she's appreciating. So what does it mean for her to appreciate? Well, to appreciate means, first of all, she sees that you're being vulnerable and asking her for something. So step 1 is her going, oh, you said something you were really scared about asking me, and you took the time to say something that you were really prepared to fail with. or you were really scared about. So that's appreciating, and she understands it, and she's empathetic. And because of this, she's now going to be gentle with you and say, no, I don't want to do that. We're not ready for that. Or I'd like to not do that. Let's become better. Let's work and, become better individuals together in our faithful relationship. That's appreciating, right? And even in this extreme example, you were asking for something that's so inappropriate in such a poor situation, right? You can still come at it with grace if you appreciate it, right? If you're willing to have full understanding, full emotional empathy towards one another. And no matter, it doesn't have to be about sex, it can be anything, right? You want to ask to hold her hand, or you want to ask her to be polite to you, or to do this or that. We often feel really awkward asking our partners for things, but the further we can get to this third tier, the better things can be. Because when you're both on this third tier of awareness, then you can be confident knowing that she'll appreciate what you're saying, and she'll be confident with you asking her, because she'll appreciate what you're saying. And she'll go, okay, you were vulnerable. You told me something you were scared about telling me. You told me you wanted to meet my parents, or you told me you wanted this, or wanted this or that, or whatever. Because you have to be vulnerable to ask for things. And it's a fine line being a good man and a crappy boy when you're asking for something. And you have to be really careful, because a good man, he doesn't really ask for things. He makes himself worthy to receive things based on the idea and the core concept that he's not working to get things. He's working because he loves the person. Anyways, that's a discussion for another video. I think it was just my last one. Totally recommend you watch it. Good video. Really proud of that one. Anywho, pardon me, having appreciation is essential in relationships because it allows for communication where you don't feel shame and you're able to be gentle with one another because you see it. And as humans, we just want to be seen. So in that appreciation, in that realization, it is so important. Anyways, example over. Let's get to knowing. What does it mean to know? Well, knowing is the first tier. It's like 10%. Knowing is like awareness, but you have no depth. Right? Because anyone can know anything. Anyone could read a book and know, or anyone could, see a woman and know her name, right? Anyone can know a woman's name, or how a camera works, or, what discipline means. But, it takes a lot more of a man to actually understand these things, right? So you can know a woman, you can know what she likes, but can you take action on that, right? What does it mean to go beyond 10%? That's just knowing. Because knowing doesn't move you. It's just mechanical, right? Knowing is just the act of having, not necessarily like an awareness, but just knowing, right? Oh, okay, well, I guess in a sense it's awareness. Granted, I called the thing 3 tiers of awareness, but knowing is literally like the beginning. You can't do anything without knowing. That's why it's a tier system, because you can't appreciate without understanding, and you can't understand without knowing. But knowing is, as a result, the lowest form of it. And there's nothing wrong with knowing something initially. When you're in a classroom, you don't know, and then you do know. When you're reading a book, you don't know, and then you know when you read. It's okay to know. It's okay to be unaware and then suddenly gain awareness upon something. But what separates a good man from a crappy man will be that the good man pursues the knowledge for the sake of having this understanding and then appreciation. Let's say in a relationship, your woman wants to deny you something. She wants to deny you something because you asked for something that was a bit too much and she'd like to have a healthier relationship. Or not necessarily counter, or, a paralleling example, she wants to do something nice for you. So in these two little examples, let's start with knowing. You know she wants to deny you and you're upset. You feel crappy. Or she wants to give you something so you feel happy, right? You don't know why you're happy. You don't know why you're upset. You don't even realize you're upset or happy. You just feel these things. It's just instinctual, right? You're just like, oh, I'm happy, oh, I'm sad, whatever. But you don't even acknowledge it, or it doesn't even click in your head, right? It's like going day to day. Like someone insults you, you're upset. The first thing you think of isn't, oh, I understand why they're upset at me and I appreciate what they said. No, it's, oh man, they said something mean. So you don't even look at it like as if you're realizing what's happening. You just living in it. You're like a robot on drone mode. You're just living, right? And many men stop here, which is the problem. They don't know what's right, but they never really live it. They're just living through their life for the sake of existing. And I lived this way my entire life up until, well, I'd say really when I was 16, 17 years old, and I really started to understand. But interestingly, though, I remember being just a little boy walking to school, like 4 or 5 years old, and I remember thinking about deep things and going, oh wow, I have this understanding and I love understanding. And I think ever since I was a wee guy, I've always been really interested in understanding, and I've always had this pursuit of knowledge. Anywho, it's important that any man has these things. It's important that any man who wants to be good should have these things. And it's essential because without them, how are you supposed to proceed, right? How are you supposed to move on to the next job, the next step in a relationship? Regardless, how are you supposed to actually be loving if you can't have those things, right? If you take things for granted, that's essentially what you're doing is just knowing, right? Oh, you know something happened and you took it for granted because you couldn't take the time to understand its significance. A woman doesn't want a man who just knows. A woman wants a man who can understand and appreciate, because those things involve details. And if you can be more emotionally wise than your woman, then that's a huge, 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 huge deal as a man. That means you're a good, good, good man. Now, ideally, your woman should be a little bit wiser than you because it's only natural for her. Right? The same way that a man might be physically stronger, a woman could be more emotionally strong just because it's natural. But relationships are a beautiful grayscale that span all the way from the blackest of blacks to the whitest of whites, and it doesn't matter, where you align on the scale as long as you're happy and you're both giving 100%. Keyword is you're both giving 100%. And right now we're at 10% because all we do is we know. So we proceed into the next section, the next tier. Tier 2, understanding. So understanding is like taking knowing, but you now know the why and the how. So you're connecting knowledge to the consequences. So in this example where the woman is, denying us something that we want, or she's giving us something that we like, step 1 was we knew. We knew she did something for us, and by consequence, we felt a certain way without realizing it. If I were to punch you in the face, you'd probably feel hurt. Your first instinct wouldn't be, oh, I realize I'm hurt. It's, ow, right? So in these examples, when you just know, when it's the bare minimum, when you're 10%, you just feel something without acknowledging it. You don't realize it. But now you're understanding. You're the second tier. This is where most people who want to advance in life stop, because they don't realize that there's a third tier, awareness, and they just stop kind of around tier 2. Granted, this is better than tier 1, and this is a step in the right direction. You just got to know you got to keep on going. Anyways, so in our examples, she denies you something. Well, first you're upset. That's your knowing. Second, you're now understanding. You understand why she denied you, so you're thankful. Okay, hold on, sorry. Maybe not thankful just quite yet, because that would be appreciating. But in this example where she denies you something, you understand why she denied it to you. You understand she didn't want this because X, or she wanted it this way because Y, or she didn't see me because this. You understand it now. And what's important is this understanding is you understand your emotion. I'm mad because of this. I'm upset because she denied me, or she didn't do what I wanted, so I'm upset. And this is important because in a man, you need to be incredibly emotionally controlled. And if you have a full appreciation and understanding of your emotions and how they work, then you can basically slap yourself into reality. Earlier today, I was upset because I was delivering equipment to my school, and the lady working there was really, really disrespectful to me, just nagging at me, telling me this and that. And then she had made a mistake. She had made a huge error. She gave me the wrong piece of equipment that I shouldn't have had at my age. And it was kind of like a little big deal. And the other lady working there was like, oh yeah, you shouldn't have had this. And I look over at her and she just goes on her phone. And in my mind, I'm like yelling at her. I'm like, you idiot. But then I caught myself and I'm like, Nolan, chill out. Who cares? You appreciate, first of all, know you're upset. Understand you're upset because she's nagging you. But then appreciate that you don't need to be upset at her because she's worrying about her own nonsense. So don't waste your time. And then, extra step, because you're so appreciative of the situation, recognize that you're appreciative that you actually understood it. So you're doing a feedback loop where you're appreciative because you're appreciative. So I left that situation happy, right, instead of being upset. Anywho, we're not quite there yet. Right now we're just understanding. We're at 50%. This is understanding. So we're understanding why these things are happening. And in the situation where the girl does something nice for us, we're happy. In this situation, because we're understanding, we know why we're happy. I'm happy because she gave me chocolate-covered strawberries, and it's my favorite snack. Or she gave me a big old kiss on the forehead without asking. I'm happy because of that. And in this situation, you can now be a bit more in tune with your more quieter emotions. I'm happy, and then, I'm a little bit full of glee or this and that. You're getting a bit more detailed. You're getting a bit of a better understanding of yourself and not just the actions around you. Because understanding your emotions, your woman, your failures, etc., that's maturity. That's becoming a better man. And if you really want to be a better man, you have to take the time to understand. And again, I can't say this enough times. It takes time. It takes forever. It takes a really long time. So many people want you to just get into something, and you yourself want to get into something as well. But if you want it to really happen, you got to take your time, right? The man who took 10 years to write a book should be more impressive than the man who took a year to write a book. Or the man who took 10 years to become an Olympic skier will be better than the guy who took 1 year to be an Olympic skier, right? Or, whatever it is, time builds craft given constant work, right? So why would you not want to take time, right? And I get it. Time sucks. It's frustrating because we just want the results. We all want the Lamborghini, but we don't want to work for it, right? And I totally understand. I worked for 40 days and I wanted the results like that. I wanted the girlfriend right here and put it right in front of me. And then, that didn't happen. So I had to realize, okay, well, if being a good man means doing all the work, I did all the work, and why didn't I get anything? Well, being a good man isn't just about doing the work. It's about taking the time. And the worst thing about taking the time is it's never what you want, right? Taking the time doesn't mean taking a day because you want a day, or a week because you want a week, or a year because you want a year. Taking the time is always about going beyond what you want, which sucks because there's no winning situation with time. You don't win against time. You never win against time because the whole point, the whole concept is it's longer than you want. So there's never going to be a favorable situation. So you have to learn to find all these tidbits of knowledge, like the 3 tiers of an awareness between the time, so you can become a better man. Anyways, so when you do understand, you start to act differently. You start to have those shifts. Kind of like in the example I talked about with the lady nagging me at the desk. Because, I start to understand why I was upset, I could humble myself a bit more later in the future steps through appreciating. But you can only get appreciation through understanding, right? You can't get to 100% without 50%. But you can't get to 50% without 10%. So they all add up together. And understanding requires this humility, right? You have to admit when you don't know. And that's the cool part, because when you understand, when you reach this second awareness, you finally start to grasp with the concept that you don't know, right? In life, you know, and you don't realize you don't know. When you understand that you do know, and sometimes you don't know. And in appreciation, that's basically like saying, oh, I can appreciate that I know things, and I can appreciate that there's things I don't know, and who cares? And then this and that and this and that in way more detail. Anyways, so we're not quite there just yet. So in understanding, this is where men most grow, right? This is when they stop reciting and start reflecting. So they start realizing what's happening and start having these transgressions in their mind that allow for them to convert into action. So, the example being with the woman where she did something nice for him because he knew he was happy from that, or he knew she did something which made him happy, and then he understood why he was happy because she did something. He now knows what made him happy, which was her. So that leads him into the action, being he wants to make her happy because he understands that his happiness comes from her. And a lot of people get here without even realizing it. But if you really want to get to the 3rd tier, you need to start realizing these things. And this isn't something that you just... Oh, my phone alarm going off. Anywho, these things don't just come naturally. You almost got to force yourself into them. And it's difficult, right? A really good person naturally will do these things, right? They will have this understanding. And that's usually a really, really smart person. And, 2, emotionally smart. But a lot of the rest of us, the people who aren't naturally good at these things, you got to work hard. And I'm so grateful for this because I'm able to work hard and become the man I want. And I can only do that because I'm able to have access to this tier system that I've discovered. And, anyways, I digress. It's just really interesting, and I'm really fascinated by it. And I'd love to keep on doing it. And I'm so proud that this isn't something that I've just picked up and thrown away. It's something that I'm carrying with me every day, even after, going throughout the time at which I would drop something. I'm still carrying this with me, and I hope every man can carry this with them. And if you're looking at me going, Nolan, what are you on about, man? I do this already. Well, then you're probably one of the few people who actually do this quite well, effectively, without needing to be conscious about it. But the reality is most of us need to be conscious about these things. And here's the kicker, the 3rd tier. Now, well, the second tier and the first tier come really naturally. The third tier is hard because the third tier means you need to be conscious about it. You need to reflect about it. Because you can be happy and then understand why you're happy, but to have this appreciation means you need to have almost like this autistic sense of familiarity with yourself and others, right? So let's go to our examples, right? So appreciation is like your understanding with love attached. So in these examples, right, where she denies you something, your girlfriend denies you something, okay, so you know you're sad. You understand you're sad because she denied you something. Here's the appreciation part. You appreciate your sadness, because your sadness means you understand the consequences of her denying you something. So you know when she denies you something, you're sad. So because of that, there's an issue. She is making you sad. So you take that concept that you've created through your appreciation and understanding of it, and you put it to work. You don't want to be sad. You want to be happy. So appreciate that in the sense that you're doing something wrong. So you need to fix it, because men naturally want to fix problems. So in fixing it, you need to be happy. But to be happy means you need to fix things for her. So she needs to be happy. She needs to approve of you. So appreciate it, right? The average man will get upset and then go, oh, dang it, I hate this stupid woman. She's always denying me. But the true man, the good man who appreciates it will go, I'm thankful she denied me, because that means I need to work harder to make her happier with me, right? And you can go a step further. Then you can go appreciative of her actions. You can go appreciative for the fact that maybe denying me was the right cause, or the right thing to do. Maybe denying me was because I was too early with something, or I did something that was too out of pocket, or something that wasn't ready, or something that was just stupid, right? Maybe her denying me was the right thing to be done, and I appreciate that because it taught me a lesson. It taught me that I need to work harder to be better for her, to make her happy such that I'm happy, and make each other happy. And you find a beautiful love inside of it. You only get that through appreciation, right? Understanding stops right when you realize, why you're upset, and then you keep on going. But appreciation is going beyond that. Appreciation isn't just going on with your life knowing that you're upset. It's finding your sadness and then turning it into something to actually be grateful for, right? And then when she gives you something, this is a bit of an easier example to understand. So she gives you something, right, that makes you happy. You're happy, then you know you're happy. You understand why you're happy, and then you can appreciate that you're happy. Here's the catch, though. You don't just appreciate that you're happy, you're appreciating her actions. So it's like the consequences. If understanding is the consequences of knowing, appreciation is the consequences of understanding. So by appreciation, you now understand. This is going to be really weird, really difficult to explain, but by appreciating, you now are able to realize she did something because she wanted you to be happy, or maybe she did something because she didn't realize it would make you happy and it was just natural. So you now understand and appreciate that she's naturally making you happy. So you're happy off the fact that she made you happy. So it's double happy. You're not just happy that she did something nice for you, but you're happy because you can appreciate through your understanding for her that she did it to either make you happy or she just did it naturally because she's a really good woman. So you're getting happiness out of it. The same way that when you were denied, you appreciate it and are happy for it because she did it because she wanted something good to happen. She wanted something good to transpire, which is why you were denied or why you were given something good. So appreciation ultimately lives to happiness and fulfillment, which is found in love. So appreciation is directly connected to love. If you love something, you'll take the time to appreciate it. Right? Maybe she told you something that she was vulnerable about, right? Maybe in that example where she did something nice for you, like she gave you the strawberries, maybe she had to be like a little embarrassed and a little awkward to give them to you, or maybe she felt like a little weird asking you what you would like to do something nice for you. So through appreciation, you're not just going, oh yeah, I want chocolate-covered strawberries. You're going, holy crap, you did something that was totally awkward without me asking you at all, and you bothered to ask me. I appreciate how weird you feel asking those things, or how awkward it might be, or how you're putting yourself out there. I appreciate you and love you so much, and it makes it even better. So appreciation is having this full empathy, this full undivided empathy towards something or someone or this action. Ideally, it's someone. But it's having this empathy where you have this complete wraparound intuition of what's going on. That's appreciation. That's this third tier of awareness. A good man will appreciate his woman, because even through his struggles, they find to be his blessings. So the same way that if you look at religion, God will give you struggles to overcome and such that they become your blessings, or maybe you're given a no instead of a yes because he's protecting you, right? If you know that to be happening, you'll be upset. If you understand it, then you'll go, okay, well then whatever. But if you appreciate it, then you can be so thankful because it's found in love. Appreciation is found in love. And vice versa. Love is found in appreciation. And if you really want a good relationship, especially with a really good woman, you need to be appreciative, and this is the hard part, you need to be constantly at this third tier. Now, it's okay when we fail. She'll pick up you, and she'll pick you up the same way you'll pick her up. But you need to try your hardest to be at this third tier of awareness. You need to try your hardest to be constantly appreciative for what's going on, such that you can be really happy with this person, right? And that's totally okay. Think about it. Here's another example. Let's say you text her all day and then she doesn't really text you. And you're going there, you're like, oh, I'm upset. She's not texting me. You know you're upset. You know she's not texting you. Okay, well, you understand you're upset because she's not texting you, and you understand that maybe she's doing something. Third tier. You appreciate that she's not texting you because it means you can go do work without worrying about her too much, right? Obviously, you should worry about the girl whenever, but you don't have to freak out about her. Or maybe because she's not texting you, you can appreciate that, wow, I'm really obsessive. I got to chill out a little bit and have more confidence in her. And you wouldn't have had that realization if you couldn't appreciate the situation at hand. Or maybe I appreciate that she's doing something because she's working really hard on whatever she wants. Or it's a sign that maybe this girl's bad or good or this and that. But you wouldn't get that without having this huge appreciation of the situation that's found in love, right? And this can be love in yourself or love for others or whatever. But it's this warm embodiment of what it means to care. Because to care means you're willing to sacrifice whatever it is to have a complete idea of someone. And to appreciate someone means you have this full idea of who they are and what they stand for. And you're sacrificing yourself to get to that. You're kind of warping your mind, right? I'm really proud of the fact that I got to the point in my relationship where I could effectively read her mind. Now, was I good at it? No. I'd say with confidence right now, I'd be a lot better now that I've discovered the 3 tiers of awareness. In that point, I had no idea what that was, and I was most of the part on the understanding, maybe a tiny bit of appreciation, but 99% understanding, especially in my own regard, where I would always get upset and then fail to appreciate the situation. Anyways, it's really important in those relationships because it allows you to grow, right? There's no more shame, there's no more awkwardness, right? There's no more just blind love. You're doing something with intent of growing, which is so essential in relationships, right? Appreciation removes the entitlement and it replaces with I'm deserved or I'm thankful for etc., etc. And this is the highest tier of awareness because it creates the peace and the purpose. You don't find peace and purpose in understanding or peace and purpose in knowing, right? A teacher tells you something, you're like, okay, you understand why it's important? Okay. But if you appreciate it, that's where you find the purpose. And you can know her, you can understand her, but until you appreciate her patience, her flaws, her effort, you'll never truly love her. And that's what's important because, again, I can't stress enough, love and appreciation go hand in hand. So let's tie it all together, right? You got to apply everything, right? Whether it's in faith, work, or relationships, it's important that you carry this third tier of awareness with you at all times. And you got to know your duty. You got to understand your purpose, and you got to appreciate your journey. The system helps you stay grounded in humility and humbleness while aiming for greatness. So it's this beautiful relationship between being happy and searching for more. And you also got to know you can't skip steps, right? Appreciation is nothing without understanding, and understanding is nothing without knowing. Anyways, that's all for today. I appreciate you watching. I appreciate you allowing me to just talking about these things. And you know what? I'll go one final example for fun. I know what I'm saying. I understand what I'm saying and how it makes me feel and how it might make you feel. And I appreciate the consequences such that I can go to bed happy that I made this video no matter how late it was or how tired I am today. And I appreciate it that you might look at this and go, you're stupid. Or you might look at this and go, you got a point there, bud. And maybe it'll change something. Maybe you'll comment something or whatever. Or maybe a thought might change in your mind. And I appreciate that this video, though it might seem redundant, and though I might have done hundreds of them by the time I get to this girl, each one of them would be important nonetheless because it brought me one step closer to my journey. My name is Nolan T. Painter, and thank you for watching.